Well, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to meet up here on Zoom and to talk about the health of moms, how they're doing, what's happening to them these days. I just want to ask quickly if you just introduce yourself, a little bit about who you are, and then what your life sort of currently looks like. So, Natasha, let's start with you.
My name is Natasha Friesen. I'm the mom of 4 kids. I have 3 boys and a girl. Their ages are 15, 13, 11, and almost 9. I also work very part-time at the church in women's ministry, and so I juggle that with my new job as teacher. My husband is self-employed, and so I help him here and there with bookkeeping and whatever else I can help him with.
My name is Alisha Rush. I have 3 kids, 9, 5, and 2. And that's what I do. Now we're wading into the waters of homeschooling, so that's exciting. My husband is Matt Reimer, and we've been at Emmanuel for 7 years now. So, yeah.
And I understand you guys are doing a bit of a home reno where you're doing some stuff with your house. What's that all about?
Oh yeah. We just recently bought a house, and so we are renovating, just some paint and a new bathroom and stuff. So we're kind of in between right now. We're still at our old place, but I'm trying to move a van load a day while it's getting painted and stuff. So that's actually been a nice break from the isolation. It's just having another 4 walls to stare at. I don't know.
Yeah. Totally.
Hi, I am here. I'm Adrienne Penner. We moved to Steinbach about a year and a half now, and are loving it. We've been coming to Emmanuel pretty much that long, and I am mostly at home with our 2 girls. Avery's 6 and Natalie's 3, and working part-time at the Steinbach Family Resource Center, and 1 or 2 days a week at home doing dietitian work, and I think I'll leave it at that.
Cool. So I'd like for this to be as practical as possible, this conversation, but maybe first let's just describe what are, in your guys' connection with the moms in Steinbach, what are moms experiencing during this time? What does life look like for them? What kind of stressors are they under? What kind of roles are they trying to balance? In your outlook at all of the moms and the moms that you interact with in your groups, what's happening out there?
I would say amongst the moms that I've chatted with, there's a lot of overwhelm, just feeling very, very busy and very incapable of the task that's before them with schooling their children. And I am friends with a lot of moms who are working full time and just feeling those feelings of being inadequate, that I can't be home to teach my kids, and so they're being independent and trying to be self-sufficient, and that's not working super well. And at the same time trying to go to work every day and do good at that, but just feeling very overwhelmed.
Yeah, would anyone add? Sorry. Yeah.
It's a lot of what I've been hearing too, is just the general feeling of overwhelm, which I think as a mom, especially with young kids, you kind of always feel that way, but there's just added pressure now with schooling at home, on top of our kind of sanity savers have been taken away. So like, we don't have play dates, we don't go hang out at the parks or the library. A lot of our kids aren't seeing their grandparents, so we're dealing with those extra things that have been kind of taken from us. and also trying to help our kids deal with that. So yeah, a lot of people have told me they feel overwhelmed and they just are really running short on patience. So that's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll add maybe a few positive things that I have heard. I would agree, majority of it is the overwhelm. However, I feel some parents, two teenagers in particular, have been working on their relationship, and I've heard a few siblings have been actually repairing a few things and learning how to get along. So I think some of that can be possible during this time. Heard one family describe it as like a never-ending Christmas break, but without the snow. So they love it.
Yeah.
I think it helps too if you're at home as a mom to begin with in some ways, because you're used to being at home, finding creative ways to keep your kids going. Just more quality time with the family. I think some people are finding bright spots in the long days, but overall, we'll all be very ready to return back to some normalcy.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, in your guys' outlook, what does some of the stress look like? Like, how does it manifest itself? What are some of the tendencies that you've seen?
Yeah, I think a lack of patience and just staring at the same thing all day. And just the monotony, I guess, of being at home, and it's using a different smart set, I guess, of trying to keep everybody challenged and content, and picking up on what each other's needs are too, because every child and every parent is fueled by different things. So we're trying to balance all of that and just try and take care of everyone, I guess.
Yeah. I think the main stressor for us right now is school. The weather's nice, the sun is out, so that plays a huge factor for my family in our mental health. We're outside a lot, so that is a bright spot, literally. But it's like, surprise, you have to teach your kid how to read now, or surprise, we changed math, we do division in boxes now. And I was wholly unprepared for any of that. So I'm finding just how little patience I have when I'm standing over my 9-year-old trying to teach her how to multiply, but like how you would learn it in 1998. They don't do it like that anymore. And then I just want to be like, oh, it's so simple. But when your child has no concept of it, you literally have to start at ground zero. And I think that's our biggest stressor right now. That and trying to plan when we're going to the grocery store.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I want to maybe drill down on that a little bit more. Have you guys had any conversations with your kids about what's happening? You guys have various ages of kids. What do those conversations look like? How would you advise other parents to have those conversations? Was there some helpful things that you did or didn't do?
I wish I could tell you the name of it, but there was a really good YouTube video that it was from a random church. I can't recall which one, but they did a really good video explaining germs and then viruses and coronavirus. And the overall gist of the video was, yes, this is a virus and it does feel scary, but our God is bigger. And my kids watched that a couple of times during that first week that school had been closed, and they were wondering why. And that helped. So it wasn't really anything I did. That was great. But since then, I just kind of encourage them to talk about how they feel about it, how they feel about not seeing friends or their teachers. or having to go to someone's drive-by birthday party. Because those are big things to kids, and they can't do them now. And so I actually gave my kids permission to call coronavirus stupid. So sometimes they will just say, "Oh, coronavirus is stupid head." And I'm like, that's fine. I agree. But usually stupid head is not a word that's allowed. So,
awesome.
yeah, just letting them, or helping them know that they can express their feelings.
Yeah.
It's been good.
Yeah, I think we lucked out in some ways because our daughters are just young enough, I feel, that they don't totally grasp it. So, and friend-wise too, we've really made an effort to FaceTime and write letters too. And I think still though, mom and dad are still cool enough to play with at this age at 6. So yeah, in some ways. So that's been helpful, and I just let them bring it up. I try not to ask too many leading questions or anything, and they have overall, I think, actually thrived for the majority of this time, which I'm very thankful for. My husband is home now. He usually travels every other week to Alberta, and my oldest daughter is home. So my youngest is just thriving on that, and they're loving the company. So I feel like those two factors have made this whole experience a lot more positive for our family. But anyway, I'm rambling.
Cool. How about you, Natasha?
I would say kind of opposite end of Adrienne. I have older kids, and so opposite end, but yet we've handled it kind of the same way. They get a lot of information through media because they're old enough to be watching the news or hear our conversations and understand them at an pretty adult level. And then the younger one, I think she just kind of goes along with stuff, but we've kind of addressed it the same way as Adrienne, in that we just kind of talk as it's brought up, and I haven't watched any specific videos explaining it or anything like that. We've just kind of generally talked about it, and there have been definite negative feelings. I have, my little girl's turning 9 on Monday, and so many tears about not being able to have the birthday party she was hoping for. And my son had a birthday right at the beginning of all of this, and we canceled his party. So it's brought up a lot of questions, but I don't think we've really been very intentional with talking about it, just whatever has come up naturally. So
cool.
Yeah.
What has been your guys' approach to homeschooling? Like, what do you feel has been a healthy mentality to approach homeschooling, to approach the stressors, the sort of like doing it every single day, the mundane aspects of it, without losing your mind? What has been some helpful things for you guys?
I think having a very open mind and seeing school as not just sitting doing math worksheets, but trying to teach them lots of just life skills. I found FaceTiming with Avery's teacher really helpful. So I'm referring to Avery, who's in grade 1 right now at Woodlawn. We FaceTime once or twice a week. So I kind of let her take the lead on that. She can update her teacher on what she's been doing. I try and make some sort of math and reading happen every day. And that can look very different. My sister and mom are both teachers, so they've been FaceTiming and sharing some of their resources and that with the girls. So that's been really helpful. But it's been very relaxed. It has been, very casual. And some days we do lots and other days we do none. But if we're happy, I figure that's more important than what they're learning right now.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I feel like in a sense that I kind of got lucky with having younger kids. I've heard, and Natasha can probably speak to this, but I've heard from moms with middle schoolers and high schoolers, a lot of it, if not all of it, is online. And it's really just for them. So I think old moms with older kids are struggling more. For me, I can give my kindergarten a tracing worksheet and have him count some jelly beans, and then I'm like, okay, cool, you've done your work for today.
Nice.
My third grader is fairly self-motivated, but I actually, even with her, as long as we're doing reading, writing, and 1 or 2 math worksheets a day, I'm okay with that. I hope her teachers aren't watching, but we are fairly behind in their packets. But I also am telling myself, I've got all summer to finish this stuff. So also a very relaxed approach.
Yeah.
But I have younger children, so I think I lucked out in that aspect.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I would say for me, it has not been as relaxing. Being, one person and having 4 kids at different stages has been very challenging. I am not the creative mom that loves to bake and teach along the way. And I am the mom who, yes, in fall, I kind of mourn the fact that my kids are in school, but I also enjoy my days, and I like doing things, I love working a little bit and doing things that fuel me in that way and challenge me. And so this has definitely been a disruption that I would never have asked for.
Yeah.
So it's been a challenge. And going back to being on electronics, 3 of my 4 kids do most of their work on the computer. And so I've heard many moms say, we used electronics kind of as our downtime and a way to say, kind of like a reward, that, okay, we're all going to take a break. You guys can go and watch TV or whatever. And now they're spending the majority of their day on their device just to do their schoolwork. And so we don't have that crutch anymore. And so that's been challenging. So, and being, obviously I have 4 kids that are very different. And so you realize things about yourself that maybe you've known, but they have just been accentuated all the more through this, and the kids as well. I've realized I am a huge perfectionist, and so when the teacher sends a list home, I feel the need to get that list done.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a hard learning curve for me to be able to let that go and relax a little bit in that, and give grace to the kids, and then teach them through it. I have 2 that would be pretty chill about life in general, and 2 that would be a little bit more like me. And so trying to figure that all out, motivate the 2 that are chill and kind of help the other 2 to relax. So it's been a challenge for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to jump into maybe one of the most important things I want to talk about is, so how can moms in this time stay healthy? And maybe let's take it at varying levels, like for sort of the average mom who's dealing with the sort of typical things that everyone's dealing with right now, what are some helpful things that help them remain healthy in this time? And then maybe let's talk about the mom that's like on meltdown mode next after that. What should that mom do in that situation? Who should they reach out to? Where should they go to at that point in time? So let's start with the average mom first.
I think 3 things that I've been learning through this is go old school and call people and just be bold, and people that you don't think are going to care or whatever, just, reach out, and it's a chance to connect with old friends, whatever. So trying to do that more. Apologize. I think mom guilt is very real, and it's easy to yell and get super frustrated with the little ones. I'm sure kids of all ages, but I'm just not there yet. And so I'm learning that the drama can be reduced significantly if mom takes the first step and sits down and authentically apologizes. to spouse and children regularly.
Yeah.
That's helped, and journaling. So I've been trying on rough days to look back and think about what went well and what didn't go well, and what do I have control over, and how can I like set us up for a better day tomorrow. So, and also trying to sit down for even 10 minutes and just almost do my lesson plan, but have, you know, lots of different ideas. But there's so much on Pinterest and emails coming through with ideas of keeping kids busy. And again, this is different than where Natasha's at. They've got enough schoolwork, but here we're kind of creating their day. So I find putting a few minutes in to have a bit of a rough plan for the next day has been really helpful.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do try the night before to kind of lay out and plan out what we're going to be doing the next day. I even just like jot down, like, make sure everyone's dressed by 8 a.m. and have breakfast. Just knowing that I've at least written it down the night before and can refer back to it during the day when things go south has been helpful. Also trying to catch what my reactions are to my children's bad behavior, because they're kind of acting out right now too. Things are changed for them. I want to act out, but I'm old enough and most of the time mature enough to process those things without throwing something, and our kids aren't. So yeah, I try and catch my reaction. If a child disobeys, my first reaction is to scold, but if I can catch myself and hug them before I scold them, that changes. It really just changes the whole mood of the day. I've been challenged to just have the utmost grace and compassion for my kids. And I think my husband has been doing the same for me. And actually, I should have said this first, but praying. Waking up in prayer. And as moms, we don't have an hour to sit. Well, we could wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning and pray, but we don't want to do that all the time. So just waking up, and the first thing I do is pray, and try and stay away from my device, my phone or computer, as much as I can. And just really praying whenever I think about it, so that it is kind of a praying without ceasing thing, and casting my cares on him and crying out to him when things are bad, and praising him when things are good. And they're up and down. There's lots of good, there's lots of bad all day long. And really just having, first and foremost, God to talk to has changed things. But I do want to say that I know a lot of moms already deal with anxiety. And right now that's probably doubled, along with people experiencing depression with the social isolation.
Yeah.
And I've told my moms in the moms group, you are not alone. You don't have to be alone in this alone. If you are feeling not yourself, text a friend, text your mom, text someone that loves you, and just tell them. It takes a bit of vulnerability, but you don't need to sit in this alone. So like Adrienne said, calling, texting people, at least hearing someone's voice is always a good thing.
Yeah. So, sorry, go ahead, Natasha.
No, that's okay. Just a few things that I have felt that has kind of helped me is if I wake up before my kids and give myself a good amount of time to kind of just be by myself and just get ready on my own before they wake up. The days that I think, oh, I had a rough night, I'm just going to sleep till they wake me, those rarely go well. So I find that is a huge help. And kind of echoing what the other two said already too, is just being intentional. We have, we just came out of a busy season with 3 kids in hockey and 2 in music lessons. And so we kind of rush and just kind of survive life. And this has slowed it to a screeching halt and allowed us to, okay, wait a minute, how would you like to respond to that in a different way? We have time to now kind of reevaluate our responses and have them be more teachable moments. So that's been good, and trying to embrace the things that are positive about this. The fact that life has slowed down a little bit. I have kind of followed suit with our church and been reading through the book of Matthew with all of my kids in the morning, and the days that we don't do it, that we just hunker down and get to work right away, again, they don't go as well than if we sit down and work through a chapter of Matthew while we're having breakfast and pray together. So I think those are huge grounding things that have worked well for us.
Cool.
And and the connection thing too. I didn't realize, I messaged with friends with our women's Bible study group. We would message pretty much almost daily the first little while. And then someone sent a selfie, and it was just so refreshing to see somebody else's face. That it was like, okay, we all need to just send a picture, so that I can see what you look like and see where you're at today. So yeah, a few of those things have helped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what about the mom in meltdown mode? How would you counsel her through that time? The struggling mom, the mom that's kind of on the last, like bone in her body kind of thing. What would you say to that mom?
Break the rules and pick one friend to get together with or something. But find a way, sit in the trunks of your vehicles and just hang out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just make
a timeout. I tell my kids often, now mommy needs a timeout or I'm going to lose it.
Yeah.
Like,
I sit in my car.
Yeah, we need them.
Behind me, but need some
Yeah.
time to.
Yeah. It's true. My kids are young enough that I have initiated coffee drives, and it's where mommy gets a coffee and we go for a drive. And the kids are strapped in, so they can't get anywhere else. They can't get at each other or anything they're not supposed to. Typically, I get them Timbits or something to put in their mouths. And I'll turn on like a story, like Audible is free kids books right now, or a kids podcast, and I'll put it in the back, and then we're just exploring southern Manitoba or just Steinbach.
Yeah.
And that's been life-giving at this time. Such a weird thought, but yeah.
Yeah, curious to know, just a weird question here. Have any of you just recently went on a little road trip and visited somewhere you wouldn't normally visit?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Where was that?
The last 3 weeks we have. The first week was to Winnipeg, and we had to pee multiple times on like the side of the roads or in the bushes at the forks and whatever. And we walked around the forks a bit. The store area or whatever was blocked off. There were like not cop cars, kind of bylaw officer type vehicles there,
Sure.
But the field, anyways, we ran around there for a while and got McDonald's and had a picnic in the car because it was cold out that day. And so that was really nice. Went to New Bothwell Cheese on the way home, whatever. And then the last 2 weeks we've gone to Morris and looked at the floodwater and gotten lunch. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, go Alisha.
we went and drove around the Bomber Stadium that first week that it was closed, or that school was closed, and then just around U of M, and I showed them, like, that's where Mommy went to school and that's where Daddy went to class, and the kids thought that was cool. And also a place south of Otterburn. It's like in between Otterburn and St. Agathe, and it's a place by the river, and there was a trail. It was a French name that I can't remember,
Okay.
but that was nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you,
We
Natasha?
went
Any
to-
random? Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Falcon Lake, and early on we walked on the lake, so that was really cool for our kids. We usually camp there in the summer, and so they got to walk on the water, and the same thing, we ate lunch in the vehicle and tried not to drink too much so that we wouldn't have to go to the bathroom on the way.
Uh-huh.
And then a couple weekends ago, we went to Lockport. So we took the River Road, kind of, I guess it would be on the, I'm horrible with directions, maybe the west side of the river.
Okay.
So just to see how high the river was. And we went to Half Moon to pick up lunch and stayed in the drive-thru for a while, but it was worth it. And then we stopped off at Cooks Creek on the way home and got out there and saw the cathedral and
Okay.
whatever, the church
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe just as my follow-up question here, and we can wrap it up here pretty soon. What kind of things are we not thinking about during this time? Like, what kind of things should we be paying attention to that maybe not many people are paying attention to, or questions we should be asking ourselves during this time that you have found to be helpful? And then maybe as a sort of continuation question into the next thing, what kind of resources are you utilizing right now in this time, or that you would say that you'd point someone else to sort of get them through stuff that's going on right now?
What was the first question again?
Yeah. So is there anything that we should be concerned about, that we should be asking ourselves? Is there anything that we should really be on the lookout for? And then resources after that.
I think if I'm taking this question the right way, I think parents that are either single parents, or I know heavy on my heart has been just kids or adults too in unsafe homes.
Yeah.
Where school was maybe their safe place where they were fed and safe. People without internet, that would be challenging.
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of leads me into my other, or the next question there, resources. I think to the person whose basic needs maybe aren't being met, I find Steinbach such a generous community, and I think Soup's On is still there, the food banks, there, the Family Resource Center, and Agape House are doing Zoom preschool classes and different online groups. So if you want to start meeting up with regular moms online and kind of add that into your weekly routine, that's possible. Lots of support around pre and postnatal stuff. So if people are finding out they're pregnant, lots of stuff there. Our church too, I feel like if you have any need, there's someone willing to meet you where you're at and do what we can.
Yeah.
There's maybe I'll let Alisha talk more about it, our mom's group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to build on what Adrienne's saying. Domestic violence, we've seen the stats coming out of the States and in Canada has increased, and actually calls to the hotlines have decreased, which they're saying is correlating with people not able to call out for help.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of people that are, because of the shutdowns, are stuck in unsafe places. So, I mean, what can we do in that situation, aside from checking in on your neighbors? But our community has a way to donate to the women's shelter. And also, I think when we come out of this, we're going to see an increased need for supplies at our food banks, Southeast Helping Hands, Soups On, those places. They're going to need, I think, in my very unprofessional opinion, they're going to need more from our community, because there's going to be a lot more people in need. I would hope not, but the way things are tracking, that's what I would predict.
Yeah.
So just, I think as a church, we can definitely just open our eyes and ears to find those needs in our community and find ways to fill them. And another thing I would say is pregnant moms and moms that are soon to deliver, they're facing a challenging time because there's only one person allowed in the room right now. And these could change in the next couple of months. But right now, if you wanted your husband and your mom, or your husband and your midwife, and so on and so on, you have to pick one. And that's your one. So they're kind of experiencing aloneness carried into the delivery room, which can be a scary time. So, yeah, I think those three things. And I'm forgetting the moms group. I try and keep in touch with our moms every other week via email, and we're doing Instagram lives. I think it's been every other week so far, right? Yeah, and those are very low key, and we try and keep them silly.
Alisha may have waxed her Mexican mustache last time.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really missing my salon services right now. I did box dye my hair. I had to get those black strips for my upper lip.
Totally.
We're not going to talk about my eyebrows. But, I mean,
I was talking about my leg hairs blowing in the wind as I'm doing jumping jacks the other day. We're very classy.
And these things are small things that we're missing out. And so we like to be able to laugh at them. And hopefully the moms that tune in can laugh with us. Because really, humor is the best medicine. Is that the right? Laughter is the best medicine.
Yep.
So, yeah, those have been fun. And then and you see the moms like chatting back and forth in the comments, and yeah, it's just been a really fun thing to do, to stay in touch with our moms.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think when I early on, I brought a little note of encouragement to some of the elderly women of our church, and just to hear their very emotional response on the phone really moved me and made me more aware of the loneliness that some of them are experiencing. So I think we need to be aware of them. Yeah, and I'm around working moms, full-time working moms, and they feel extremely overwhelmed in this season, and not supported in many ways, and not understood. And so that would be another group of people that I would want to be sensitive to and just thinking about and caring for. And as for resources, I have a reader in my home who loves to read like a thick book a day. And so we have been challenged to, now you can't go to the library, so where do we go to keep you entertained? And so the library, like Jacob Library, if you email them, I had to email them for a code, and we can borrow books online. And so that has been a huge lifesaver for him. So that's a resource that I wouldn't have used otherwise.
Cool. That's great. Well, I think the only thing I would add to what you guys are saying is, and I think this pertains to moms, but I think this pertains to all of us. I think the unasked question right now is, what if we wind up back here in the exact same place in 6 months? You know, and I hope that it's not a factor, but this may be a situation as Manitoba reopens that it may be a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing, and you know, it's going to be hard on all of us, no matter what we're doing, mental health wise, being moms, just, you know, trying to deal with stuff for the long term. And so, so I think it's one of the quotes that I've recently just really been holding on to is having a long-term mentality and a short-term plan. And so having that long-term mentality that, you know, we may have to do this for a while. I want to be strong. I want to, you know, prepare myself mentally for the long term, but I'm also making a plan for the short term on a day-to-day basis, a week-to-week basis, and not trying to cast my plans too far out there because they may change or they may pivot all the time. And so I've just been trying to take 1 step at a time and try to be sort of strong for the long term. So, well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your wisdom and just for coming on here and chatting a little bit. I know that you will be a blessing and a huge voice of reason and help and this time for lots of other moms. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.